we're gonna be doing a video about how the Seahawks should do this off season, and yeah, he's gonna be asking me questions. I'm gonna be answering them, and you know, we gonna get litty.
New brand of soda. Yeah, you already know.
Yeah, you already know we gotta have a new soda every video.
All right. So, how do you think we performed this season?
I think we performed pretty good. Let's be honest, that bullshit play where fucking Jimmy Graham got the first down, that was trash. He did not get there. His knee was clearly down about a half a yard short. And the rest were pissed off because Pete Carroll kept yelling at him all game because they was making some shitty-ass calls. So was Pete Carroll, though. Should have had Shaquille following Devontae Adams. That's the reason we lost the game. I'm not going to blame it all on Jimmy Graham. It was Pete Carroll's fault, too. If Shaquille Griffin was following Devontae Adams the whole game, he wouldn't have done shit. Devontae Adams had like one, maybe two catches on Shaquille for less than 20 yards. Guaranteed. During that playoff game. It was all against Trey Flowers.
Alright.
I'm still pissed. I'm still mad because we would have been in the Super Bowl. I almost guarantee we would have beat the Niners that next time. Because, yeah, we would have won.
Alright, since you already think we're a Super Bowl contender, like, you know, you already explained how we did things wrong. Fucking Devontae Adams, fucking, oh, Jesus. But, what do you think we can do to improve?
Like, how so? Like in free agency?
Yeah, like free agency in the offseason and stuff like that.
Alright, well, in the free agency this year, I feel like our main target needs to be bringing in Byron Jones. We need to get Byron Jones, and I think we should probably target, you know, I think honestly Byron Jones is, if we bring in Byron Jones, he can be our one star free agent that we bring in. I think we should pay him about 16 mil. That's what I've seen that he's been asking for. And if he is getting paid 16 mil to come to a Super Bowl contending team with an already pretty good defense. Now there's some question marks at defense, but I'm going to answer them in a little bit. And that's honestly the only free agent I think we need to bring in. Other than that, we kind of need to just re-sign guys. And another guy I could be looking at, though, is Robbie Anderson. If we're not able to bring in Byron Jones, then we get a big 6'3" speedy receiver in Robbie Anderson who does not want to go back to the Jets. He's very fast, and we can put him on the outside. And with DK Metcalf on the other side and Tyler Lockett in the slot, that's an amazing receiving core. We might be able to get Josh Gordon back this season, but I doubt it because of the fact that he didn't get caught for using marijuana this time. He got caught for using other drugs that are stronger.
Aren't they making marijuana legal?
Well, it depends. On the proposed CBA, basically, players, depending on their marijuana levels, will either get suspended very much less, like maybe 1 or 2 games, if they have a high level, or they will get suspended, won't even get suspended if it's a low level of marijuana in their blood. Or however they test that.
So what about the draft, the upcoming draft? Who do you think we should get, and who do you think they should be looking out for with their pick?
I think our first round pick, which is pick number 27, everybody is saying that we should trade back because we only have 5 picks in this year's draft, a first rounder, a second rounder, a fourth rounder, a fifth rounder, and a sixth rounder. But the one guy I've been looking at this entire draft process is a guy, offensive tackle, Austin Jackson. I think he's really good offensive tackle. He's very good in pass blocking, and that's what we need. Jermaine Ifedi, George Fant, these guys, they're good run blockers. They're decent run blockers. Jermaine Ifedi, I think, is one of the worst offensive tackles in the NFL. I'm going to say that right now. Because of the fact that he gives the defense yardage. A lot. His first year, his rookie year, he was the most penalized offensive tackle in the NFL. His second year, he was the most penalized offensive tackle. This year, he dropped down a little bit in the penalties, but he still was not very good in pass blocking, and we need to give Russell Wilson time. That's all we need to do. Russell Wilson has the weapons.
he's a great scrambler and all that.
He's a great scrambler, but, I mean, shit, somebody's got to block. Fuck. Okay, we already got Dwayne Brown. I think he's a great pass blocker. I don't know if we should hold on to Dwayne Brown based on, other things. But if, these other things that I will mention later don't work out, then obviously we should hold on to Dwayne Brown. He's the captain of the O-line. He's a good guy. And he brings a certain intensity to the O-line that, I like. I like Dwayne Brown. I love him. Justin Britt is my favorite one of our offensive linemen. He's a young guy, 26-year-old center, and he won't be a free agent until 2021, and we have a lot of cap space in 2021 too. So hopefully we'll be able to get that deal done and keep him around for another couple years to keep protecting Russ. He did get injured this year, but I expect him to make a strong recovery. So I'm glad to have him back next season because our center position was weak without him. It was horrible. Horrid.
Yeah. Well, with our cap space and all that, like, who do you think, who's taking up most of that, and, like, what do you think, who should we get rid of, or who should we, sign on, or, who do you think they are going to be looking out for? Like, I know a lot of their weak points, but, with our cap and all that, especially extending, who do you think we should look for,
Who should we extend?
Or who should we extend and,
All right,
get rid
so
of?
one guy I think we need to extend, even though he did only have 3 sacks this year and he was a little inconsistent. He's asking for $22 million, but I think we can get him down to 20 because the only teams that are offering him are the Giants and the Colts right now. So, and neither one of those teams are really contenders. The Colts can be contenders. I don't think they are contenders. So, there's that, because the Colts are in a very strong AFC, and there's a lot of teams that are going to be looking to make improvements on that side, and even if the Colts do get a quarterback like Phillip Rivers or someone else in free agency, even though Phillip Rivers was honestly trash last year, I'm not going to lie. What are you doing in my room? Get out. Go. I'm recording a video. Anyway, but, yeah, so I just think that Clowney wants to be a Seahawk. He loves the way that we do things. He loves it. The Seahawks way of doing things is it's awesome. Players love it. People love it. Everybody loves it. Okay, another guy that I think we need to bring back is Jarran Reed. He's asking for about $10 million this year. I think we can bring him back, and if we do bring in Byron Jones and re-sign Clowney, that takes up $48 million of our cap space. Jarran Reed, I think if we can cut Ed Dixon and maybe, I know I just said I want us to hang on to him, but just wait a second, okay? But Dwayne Brown, if we cut or trade him, that gets rid of $8 million cap space, so that gives us $11 more million cap space, which is plenty enough to sign Jarran Reed to a contract and, move on with that. So, there's that, and, yeah.
Well, even if we do get good players, better players, what about the coaching staff? Do you think they could hold up with that? Or
I think our coaching staff is amazing. Especially if we bring in a guy like Byron Jones in the DB core. Byron Jones and Shaquille Griffin together, we just leave Shaquille Griffin on his side. He's played this left corner. That's what we like him to play. Byron Jones, if we play man coverage, we can move him to the slot. We can move him to the outside. He would perform perfectly in our defense as a cover 3 deep kind of corner. He's 6'1". He plays very good in zone coverage, and I like him. I like him a lot. He's young, and I don't think the Cowboys will re-sign him. I think they're going to re-sign Amari Cooper instead of him, which I also think is stupid because Amari Cooper is very inconsistent, and Byron Jones has been a lockdown corner in that defense. But, that's their decision.
Well,
that's Jerry Jones. Okay.
Who do you think they're going to start, following the number 1 receiver? Are they still going to do Griffin, or are they going to do Byron Jones if they do sign him?
Well, it depends. Byron Jones, if the number 1 receiver is in the slot, he'll be on it, if it's man coverage.
Yeah.
If the number 1 receiver is on the right side, from the defensive perspective, if he's on the right side, then Byron Jones will be on it.
Yeah.
If it's man or zone. Either way, they're going to either have Byron Jones in the slot or the right corner, depending on man or zone. Now, that kind of gives it away, but when you got 2 lockdown corners, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It really doesn't, because the thing is Trey Flowers, he used to play safety. I like him tackling. So I like it. If we play cover 3 and we have him in the slot, I'm very confident that he can cover the flat zone. He can make those hits. So
no matter what we do, we'll still be a Super Bowl contender because we still have great coaching staff. We still have a great team. I mean, injuries are prone in any team, but
yeah.
you know.
See, and the thing is everybody's saying like, why would we give Clowney 22 mil if he only had 3 sacks and was inconsistent last year? Because Clowney's 26 years old. If he doesn't improve this year, we can trade his 22 mil for a good amount of return. Because a team will have him for a guaranteed 3 years. So, obviously a team will make an offer for him if we try to trade him after next season. Even if he is a lot of cap. Okay? So, don't be going down that road. Alright, so... Hurry up, get back here. The hell?
Alright, so, yeah, I don't know. I think we're always a Super Bowl contender, but, like, I don't know. I don't know if they'll ever do it, but, like, what trades will they make? It's like, what do you think they make?
What trades? I think the trades that we should make is, I think we should trade KJ Wright and a 4th round pick, maybe a 3rd or a 2nd even, for Trent Williams. Because Trent Williams, he's 32 years old, but if we can bring him in, and then we will only gain $5 million cap, and then we can cut Dwayne Brown and draft Austin Jackson. Now, obviously, we won't cut Dwayne Brown until after we can get Austin Jackson in the draft. Because if we don't get Austin Jackson and we cut Dwayne, then we're screwed. But Jermaine Ifedi and George Fant are both free agents. We need to fill that offensive tackle position. If we cut Dwayne Brown's $8 million and bring in a guy like Trent Williams that's 5 years younger than Dwayne Brown and is probably going to be around just as long as Dwayne Brown, and then draft a young guy, Austin Jackson, to play the right tackle or left tackle, because Trent Williams has played right and left. So whatever they decide to put him at, you put Austin Jackson on the other side. I think we can get great production out of Austin Jackson. And, yeah, I just think that spot will be good. And, we had a guy, Jamarcus Webb, last year. We moved him into guard when, what's his face? God damn it, I forgot his name. The old guy, Mike Upati. When Mike Upati was injured, we moved him inside to guard. He did very good. He's only a 27-year-old guy by the time the season starts. And we can just leave him in there at guard. We got Justin Britt in there at center. We got DJ Fluker at right guard. I think the offensive line is a lot stronger with Austin Jackson and Trent Williams starting next season.
So, what about our running back situation? Because I know we still have a few people injured, and then we did sign Marshawn, but I don't know if they're going to keep him for next season. But we do have Travis Homer as well. So
Marshawn Lynch is a question for next season. Depends on if he wants to come back. If he does want to come back, we'll welcome him with open arms. But Chris Carson and Rashad Penny, I expect to make full recoveries. So, and that 1-2 punch is crazy.
Yeah.
And then you add Marshawn to the mix if he decides to come back next year. We need to get 1, 2, 3 yards, Chris Carson or Marshawn Lynch. You can have them both in at the same time and just have one block for the other. They're both huge. Okay? Like, you don't know which way it's going to go if you got both those guys in, So, it's crazy. It's a crazy idea of having Marshawn come back, and I think we have a good chance at making a Super Bowl run if we can hold on to the guys that we have and, bring back, or bring Byron Jones into the mix. Because this is the thing is, we will have $62 million in cap space if we cut Dwayne Brown and we cut Ed Dixon. Because that adds $11 million to our cap space, which right now we're at 51. So if we get up to $62 million, Byron Jones and Jadeveon Clowney's contract go up to $48 million if we give them an offer of $22 and $16 million. Like I said, I think we can get Clowney for $20, so I'm going to say $46 million. Then we can bring back a guy like Jaron Reed, who had great production for us his second year. He had 10.5 sacks. Obviously, last game he was suspended for 6 games. But when he came back with some fire. So I like him, and I think if we bring him back, that'd be great. Brings us up to $56 million. And then, we can draft a guy like Austin Jackson, bring back some of the other guys that we have that are, free agents right now that are going to come back for less contracts. Guys like Jacob Hollister and Luke Wilson, guys that we want back, guys that we think can help that tight end room. Will Dissly, I expect to make a full recovery. He's been injured the past 2 seasons. It's been rough, but now he has a guy like Greg Olsen in there because we just signed him to a 2-year, $7 million contract. So, I think we're looking at a great team this year if we are able to bring in a guy like Byron Jones. So it's crazy. It's crazy. It's a crazy thought thinking that we can have all this stuff and have the same team that we had last year with a guy like Byron Jones in the mix. You think about that, the only plays that teams could actually get good yardage on us were deep pass plays. We could stop the run. Now, KJ Wright, I understand people are like, what the heck? He had one of his best years last year. Why would we get rid of him? Okay, KJ Wright is taking up a lot of cap. Now, if we can bring in guys to the offensive line and we can bring back some of the guys that gave us a little bit more production last year, or younger guys, not even more production, because Jaron Reed is 26 years old. Jadeveon Clowney will be 27 by the time the season starts. Like, KJ Wright's 32 years old, and we can get rid of $8 million cap and trade him for a guy like Trent Williams that can come in and protect Russell Wilson. So then you hear that, and you're like, why wouldn't we trade him, right? Like, we have young guys at linebacker that we drafted last year, guys like Ben Burke-Kirven and Cody Barton, who brought great production for us on special teams and were great when certain guys like Michael Kendricks were suspended and when Bobby Wagner was injured. So I think they can make a big jump with Bobby Wagner being there this year. And, I think we let Michael Kendricks leave us in free agency because we don't need him back. We have, like I said, we have Cody Barton and Ben Burke-Kirven. Ben Burke-Kirven can go to right and Cody Barton can go to left. And I think Bobby Wagner training them up and making them have that certain amount of communication and showing them how to see things in the film room is going to be unstoppable. Like, that linebacker core with that speed and that strength and that tackling with Bobby Wagner teaching them how to do things is crazy. So I don't see why we need to bring KJ Wright back. Now, I understand he's been with us his whole career. It's kind of fucked up. But at the end of the year, it's a business.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a business. So we got to make the best moves for the team. Okay? So now, if we're not able to bring in a guy like Trent Williams or anything like that, then I still think we should trade KJ Wright for draft stock because we only have 5 picks this year, as I said, and bring in a guy like Jack Conklin. He's a 26-year-old right tackle. We can still draft Austin Jackson, and maybe what we can do is we can trade KJ Wright and our 27th pick to move up in the draft to make sure we get Austin Jackson. And then we can get rid of a guy like Dwayne Brown since we have young guys in Austin Jackson and Jack Conklin there. So there's a lot of ways that we can make the right moves this season. Do I think that the Seahawks will do most of these things? I think they won't because I don't think they have the vision that I do. I'm not saying I'm smarter than them. I'm not saying any of that. But I think they're worried about certain things that actually don't really matter if you think about it real hard. Like Jadeveon Clowney, they're worried about bringing him back because he was inconsistent and, they don't want to pay him $22 million. Well, he already said that he wants to stay with a contender. The Colts and the Giants are the only 2 teams willing to pay him $22 million from what I've heard. So we can probably get him for $18 to $20 million and bring him back. And then if he doesn't give us the production that we want in year 2 with the Seahawks in a different scheme than the Texans, then we can trade him. Trade him for somebody else. Trade him for draft stock so that you can draft another defensive end in next year's draft. Get a high pick.
So what about other Seattle teams like the XFL, the Seattle Miss, and, what do you think is going for them?
I think the Seattle Dragons have a really good team, and I really like that one of our former quarterbacks is coaching them. I really like that Steve Largent's quarterback, the lefty, is coaching them. I like him. I think he's always been really smart, and I think them bringing in Dave Craig a long time ago to replace him was stupid, but that coach didn't like scrambling lefty quarterbacks that made, crazy throws. So he brought in a guy like Dave Craig that doesn't make, he's a holds on to the ball, kind of just dumps it off, type of quarterback, and I didn't like him. But anyway, also another thing is the guy on the Houston Roughnecks, that quarterback. I liked him in preseason last year when he was with the Colts, and I think that the Seahawks will try to sign him to a contract to be Russell Wilson's backup, and that'd be great. So
why do you think he'd be great as a backup for Russell Wilson? Do you think he could push and start for the Seattle Seahawks, or?
He's not going to start over Russell Wilson. We paid that man $35 million a year for a reason. He's the premier quarterback in the NFL. Like, guys like Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are really good, but Russell Wilson's been doing it a long time. I'm not saying those guys aren't going to continue to do what they've been doing, but Russell Wilson's been doing it a long time. Patrick Mahomes is going to get a bigger contract than Russell Wilson. I already know that. Especially with how the salary cap goes up about 8 to 10 mil every single season, he's going to get more.
All right.
So, there's that.
So, to wrap this video up, basically, hopefully they can make the right moves to keep us being a Super Bowl contender.
I really think, I think either way we'll be a Super Bowl contender, but if we don't do anything, I think there's no way, honestly, that we will even be at the top of the NFC West. Because obviously the Niners are at the top of the NFC West right now. They're going to lose a couple guys this year. And that's why I really think we need to bring in a guy like Byron Jones. A guy that can lock their receivers down. Alongside Shaquille Griffin. I know I've repeated this so much, but it's just something that we really need to happen. The Eagles, they're going to make a strong push for him because they're tired of getting their asses kicked by him. They're in the same division as the Cowboys. They got to play him twice a year. Cowboys don't want the Eagles to get him, and I don't think Byron Jones wants to be an Eagle, to be honest. I think he'd rather be a Seahawk, a team that's been consistently going to the playoffs. We had 1 year with Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll, or Russell Wilson anyway, that we didn't make the playoffs. And there was 3 games that we lost because of our kicker, Blair Walsh. We lost to the Bucks. I think it was the Falcons. And then there was one other team that we lost to because Blair Walsh missed 3 field goals in all of those games. Now, should we have probably scored touchdowns? Yes, but our offense wasn't as good. So, we had little to no running backs at the time, and freaking Marshawn was injured, I'm pretty sure, and Carson, I don't even know if we had him yet, but I'm pretty sure if we did, he got injured his rookie year, so it was back then. So yeah, we had no run game. We had to make Russell Wilson do everything, and there was no way. And now I feel like I'm kind of just rambling about the past, but I'm a die-hard Seahawks fan, y'all boys, so it's we literally should have been 12-4 that year, but instead we ended up 9-6 and missing the playoffs, or 9-7 and missing the playoffs. We should have been 12-4, 11-5 that year, something like that. But missed field goals pisses me off when you can't have a kicker go out there and do the one thing that he's supposed to do. He kicks a 27-yard field goal and we miss. Come on, man. I can make a 27-yard field goal. Anyway, Blair Walsh is Mr. Wide Right himself, and he will never have a job in the NFL again, guaranteed. I don't know why we even signed him when we did. There were better kickers on the market. It's whatever. I don't care. I'm over it. No, I'm not. Anyway.
The past is the past.
Past is the past, but I'm not over it yet.
The 2020 season is going to be lit for all teams. Go Seahawks.
Oh, yeah. Also, with our second-round pick, I think we should draft a guy like Justin Buick. Okay, I don't know how to say his last name, but he's a really strong defensive tackle. He's good in the run game, and he's good in the pass rush. So I think we should sign him. get him with our second round pick if he's still available. I really want Austin